gentlemen, it's Tuesday. Yeah, that means it's time for the PD Skillz Show. And this week, we've got a special guest, another Windsorite, 2 weeks in a row. We have got the one and only man of many hats, referee, announcer, toy collector, snack connoisseur, Jeffrey Kavanaugh, a.k.a. Jeffrey Scott. How's it going, brother?
Good. Great to see your face.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen other people's faces other than my immediate family. So it's nice to see someone else's face on here.
Yes, absolutely. And in honor of the Junk Food Jeff show, we're drinking a Soda Pop Bros as per the review.
Nice. Well, you get the maple root beer. What do you think of it?
Oh, I like it. I like a lot of I like most of the flavors. I mean, the original 6 are obviously like your basic types of pop.
Yeah.
But being friends with Bjorn there, like I've had pretty much everyone that they've got.
Yeah, we got and they have 4 new ones coming out this week actually. I could even talk about that on here if you'd like.
The only one I haven't tried is the Jeff Cannonball one.
Yeah, but they got 4 new ones coming out this week. I think they were having a little problem with the actual manufacturing process. There was a problem with the labels or something, I heard. But they've got a lemonade flavored pop coming out for the summer, a cherry limeade. They're coming out with a strawberry donut, and then finally a rocket pop popsicle.
Yeah. The strawberry donut, is that the one, the Windsor Car Spotter one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
So before we get into all the beautiful things you've got to offer outside of the wrestling business, first, for our fans that failed to meet the 10-minute mark, let's do a little plug sandwich. Tell them where they can find you, Jeff.
Junk Food Jeff on YouTube, Junk Food Jeff on Facebook. That's the main thing I got going on. I'm starting up Drum Boys Toys on Facebook. That page is up. I'm going to start promoting toy shows all over Ontario the way I do wrestling shows. And that's about it. Junk Food Jeff and Drum Boy Toys. Those are the 2 things that I'm excited about that I got going on. I got laid off during the pandemic, so now I'm just kind of trying to do my own thing, try not to work for anybody else.
You know what? And that's been a lot of people's things. Like a lot of people have settled into like their own niche and kind of tried their own thing during the pandemic, like especially with, digital marketplace being everything now is very hard too.
And to think I think about all the opportunities that I had coming to me right before the pandemic hit. And it's hard not to want to go jump off like an 80-story building, I had a lot of momentum in my wrestling career going on right before the pandemic. I was even scheduled to, I don't think too many people even know this, but Impact was sending me to Japan. I was supposed to be there March 14th of last year, and the show ended up getting canceled because of COVID. I was going to ring announce the Noah show, and I was going to go over there and produce a couple segments for Impact Wrestling's TV show.
Man, no, I had no idea about that.
Yeah, so that got taken away. Plus, we had the March Breakdown pay-per-view was supposed to be coming to Windsor, the all-steel cage match pay-per-view.
Yes, I just on one of my previous episodes, I was just talking about, actually, I think it was with literally last episode with Aiden Prince there, how it hit really hard for Windsor fans. Like, every time I saw a lockdown meme after that, I was like, fuck, like that hurts.
Dude, you have no idea. Like when the St. Clair started talking about not being able to let us use the building, we literally started calling every building. Like I even called like indoor golf domes and stuff to see if they would let us do the show there because the COVID hadn't really, it wasn't until about March 20. Well, the show was scheduled for March 24th.
Yeah, like it was it was on the cusp. Like it sucked because it's one of those things that other things squeezed through and it almost could have made it.
I know. But I will give Impact credit for one thing. Even when the show got canceled, Anthem still paid me for promoting the show, which they really didn't have to do. But like, you know what I mean? Like that was like money and stuff that I was counting on, and I'd done all the work. You know what I mean? The tickets were all sold. We sold out the whole fucking thing was sold
Yeah,
out.
like I don't like I even for someone who in my shoot job works in insurance, like I don't know how that works where with like when there's insurance in place for shows like that. I don't know how that even worked with the pandemic because like I don't do the big
Right.
commercial side of things. So I'm like, fuck, but I have an understanding of it. So I'm like, that's for a lot of like people, that's a big hit.
Right. And the thing is, like, for someone like me, a couple $1,000 is, a couple $1,000. And thankfully, Anthem, couple $1,000 to them isn't as much as it is to me. So they still they still pay me for that show, even though it never happened. So I appreciate
that.
Obviously,
I mean, you got to that point just for the pandemic in your wrestling career. So, I mean, obviously you've got a long history. For those that haven't had the pleasure, give us the Coles notes here. Give them a quick rundown of who and where Jeffrey Scott comes from.
Okay. So very first student ever at the Can-Am Wrestling School. Worked on their street team, handing out flyers, building the ring, stuff like that. Became a referee. Chuck Fader ended up stepping away from wrestling, so I took his spot in the company. Started as the promoter, referee, mostly promoting. And then when Scott went back to Impact in 2017, I went back as a ring announcer, and then I helped with like produce segments and stuff during the day, and stuff like that. And and I also used to ring announce for Border City from the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen you, like I said earlier, in many hats. Refereeing, ring announcing. Your current
designing the posters.
Yeah, your side hustles, and I mean, like, I've discussed this before. Like, you're one of the first people that I've probably met in the professional wrestling industry, being one of Windsor's unruly teens, right?
Right. You guys were the best. I wish there was still more kids like you guys, like, around.
But I mean,
now.
I feel like there is, like, I see the WWC, like the Windsor wrestling community, they light it up at those shows. And I was like, I might get my feelings hurt if I ask this, but in their prime, who runs a crowd, the WWC or the Unrulies?
The Unrulies forever and always. Like,
yes.
Like, in all honesty, you guys just happened to be there at the perfect time when we were doing all that stuff, when ECW went out of business and we started bringing in all those guys. And the casual wrestling fan doesn't know who, let's say, a Nova or a Sinister Minister is, right?
Yeah.
But you guys do.
Oh, hell yeah.
So when you guys boo or cheer or whatever, the people, the tertiary fans that aren't familiar with that stuff, they're kind of going by your lead. You know what I mean?
I feel like we were decent fans up until they tried the MXPW thing. We were ruthless at that time, though. We were little dicks.
Yeah, but that's all right, though. It was a good time. And you know what I mean? You guys, it was never anything like I never took it as anything bad.
No, we were just passionate about BCW. It's like, it's change anything. No one likes to see their favorite, logo or mascot or whatever change. So when it was like BCW to MXPW, we're like, oh, fuck no, you ain't renaming our brand. Like, this is our jam. This is our childhood.
We got it back, though, a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
I think Scott sold the company 3 times, and every time we somehow get it back. So I don't know how that works, but
cat comes back, man. The cat comes back.
Right.
Some things are meant to be.
You know that there was a time me, Scott D'Amore, Chris Pelon, the Smooth Mover, were all at the mall, and Brian Lebesnick saw us from across the mall. This was on like Midnight Madness sale.
Yeah.
And he started screaming, BCW, BCW. So then he started this whole BCW thing where he was being all loud and like surrounding us and cheering and chanting. And security came up to us and told us that we were causing trouble and we had to leave.
Oh my God.
So me, Pelon, and D'Amore got kicked out of the mall because of Brian Lebesnick.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I've been kicked out of multiple places because of Brian Lebesnick. So.
Right. That's true too.
Fuck.
Yeah, that was I wasn't too happy about that.
Yeah, no doubt. Fucking being like a former mall employee, fuck security. How'd you gotta do my boys like that? Fuck's wrong
We
with
were like, why are we getting kicked out though? I don't understand. Well, you're the ones that are causing the scene.
Well, yeah, you didn't bring your crowd control and
Right. We just wanted to
your
go shopping.
paparazzi punishers and all that. Like you got to bring that shit out in
Right.
public with you.
Yeah, we just wanted to, you know what I mean? We just wanted to shop till midnight.
Yeah. So yeah, well, one of the things that we'll kind of transition here is, you know, growing up, going to those Border City wrestling shows was one of my first glimpses at one of your other passions, which was toy collecting.
Right.
Now, I've always seen at the shows, you could go back, actually go back a year to the date, because I was a year to the date from the airing of the show. Slam released an article with you where you kind of talked about why you had gotten into the selling of the figures at the shows, because refs didn't really have merchandise.
Right.
Now, like, you know, fast forward to, you know, 2021 and then rewind 2 years because we haven't had wrestling.
Yeah.
I see wrestlers actually selling toys as well at shows, but like way back then, like you were the only guy I seen doing it. Like were wrestlers collectors back then too, and just better at hiding it? Because like you like kind of transcend a generation of wrestlers above mine, where like they hid their like interest a little more and their mark side. Like is it just a new generation of toy collectors, or has it always been there and we didn't know?
No, I like secretly, like back in the day, like when Border City was going on, like guys like Chris Valentino, you know, remember Chris?
Yep.
He's a big collector. So I ended up like befriending him. But like I got to the point where like we would do shows, like we would travel to, let's say, Grand Rapids, Michigan, or Tiffin, Ohio, right? Mm-hmm. Whoever got stuck in my car would get dragged to every Meijer, KB Toys, Toys R Us, Kmart I could find, because the States always had better, cooler stuff than what we had here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and like you can walk into a dollar store in the States and get a figure for $2, right? Mm-hmm. So then I started like buying them for myself, for my own collection, and then thinking to myself, well, this feels too stupid to leave behind. I think I could probably sell these for even $10 Canadian and still be making money on them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And before you know it, people were like, hey, if you ever see any more of these, I'll pay. They were giving me money ahead of time to get them stuff. So I was like thinking to myself, well, this is an easy way for me to make money at wrestling and be able to collect my toys and get my collection paid for by making the money selling. Like I would try to buy double or triple of something, keep one, and then try to sell one for double to get mine paid for, so that my collection
you had the Soda Pop Bros pop formula, but it was for figures.
Exactly. And
scour the world for figures and figure out a way to make it a business.
And I still do it now with the Funko Pop figurines. Yeah. Like
I've seen like quite a few really cool ones pass like through like your account and stuff like that.
Oh my God, it's crazy. Like, so I started a group in Windsor called the Windsor Funko Pop Friends. So anyone
that listens, start that.
Yeah. So anyone that, because basically I'm like, I don't know, I've always been kind of social media forward like my whole life. Like I was on the internet in 1993 when like people didn't even know what the internet was. And I told Scott D'Amore that Border City Wrestling needs a needs a website in 1994. And he told me that the internet was a fad and he wouldn't spend the money. Let's let me put that on the internet for everybody. The internet is going to be a fad according to Scott D'Amore.
There you go.
But yeah, so I always try to look for different opportunities to, like, there was no like Funko Pop Windsor based page where people could talk pops, trade them, sell them, talk about them. I feel like
for a lot of things we get stuck having to go to Toronto
or London or whatever. Windsor never has it, or Detroit, and we never have our own stuff. That's why I tried to start like a local food. Junk Food Jeff was like a Windsor, basically a way to like promote Windsor and Detroit based stuff.
Yeah.
Same with my Windsor Funko Pop friends. Same with my toy page. Like everything is basically, I try to make it as Windsor based as possible because I have a lot of connections here. Like there was, when I was doing 89X radio every day for 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a captive audience. Like you don't realize like 89X, sounds kind of lame, but if you think about it, that's free radio being put in people's cars.
89X is not lame.
But I'm
89X is
radio. I'm just saying, listening to radio.
Like I already miss it. Even when there's times that music didn't connect with me, it was such like it's such a part of the regular routine to check out what's going on 89X. So like when you got that gig, like I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. Like Jeff's doing his thing there. Like, and actually there's one of the questions I had for you. Like what made you decide like I'm gonna fucking do this junk food Jeff thing?
So what happened was, I've always been a fan of like collecting stuff. I don't know why. I kind of like an OCD personality. I have to have everything. If you buy me something and I like it, I need to have all of them. I can't just have that one. I'm kind of like that way,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very completist about how I collect stuff. So as you can see from behind me, my Pringles can collection here, like, you can't see in this room. I'll do a tour on one of my vlogs one of these days, but like I have about, it's got to be 380 different cans in this room right now of different flavors that I've collected. And that all started because you remember Joey Legend, the wrestler.
Yeah.
So he moved here from Germany and I helped him unpack, and I unpacked a can of, you know what? They're probably right. I'll show you. This is the original can from the collection. Are you ready?
Are they alphabetical?
Yes, they're alphabetical.
I fucking appreciates that.
Yeah, but until a new one comes out that starts with the letter B, and I got to move 340 of them over one spot over. That sucks.
My God, no.
Okay, so here's the OG, if you can see it at home.
There you are. So
Pringles Paprika. So this is the can that Joe Legend brought. 2008. So this is 12 years ago. This expired. So this probably came from like 2007. And I said, paprika. I said, what the hell is this? And he said, in Europe, they don't have barbecue sauce. They only have like, so they don't really know what barbecue tastes like. But paprika tastes enough like barbecue sauce that they just call barbecue flavored stuff paprika. And this was the OG. And I brought this to work. I was working at Zayre's at the time.
Yeah.
And I brought it to work and I showed some people at work. And this lady that worked in the natural food section went to Japan the next week. And Mexico. And she brought me back like sour cream and jalapeno, which is around here somewhere. And before you know it, it became a thing where people would go on vacation and find me the weirdest Pringle they could find, right?
Well, yeah, because one thing, when you're into something that like no one else seems to be into, like you get thought of immediately, like, holy shit, Jeff would love this. And they're chips, so it's a fucking easy buy.
And it's a $2 thing. So even if I don't need them, it was $2. I'll buy it off you anyway. It's not like if wrestling figures, people buy you a $30 wrestling figure and you're like, well, I don't need that. Now I got to find the burden of getting rid of a $30 figure. But for these, it's like they're $2 maximum a can. You know what I mean?
It's worth the $2 just to put it on display with the rest at this point.
Right. So eventually this whole room is going to be wrapped with Pringles. So once I started doing this Junk Food Jeff thing, I set up a little I just set up my desk in front of this Pringles wall. But originally now what I've bought, this room's into shambles. I'm going to build a whole set on the opposite wall that's going to have wrestling figures, Pringles, everything mixed in it so I can use it as one universal backdrop for all my videos. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that'll be quite the mix. Yeah, and I'm going to get lighting and stuff done in here. It's just, you got to invest in yourself. You know what I mean? Like I get it. I'm 45 years old. The thing that I love the most is wrestling, and I can't do that for like the last year and a half. So I take the stuff that I love about wrestling, the promoting and I start promoting my own toy shows, and I take the stuff that I like, the presentation, the talking in front of people and all that stuff, and make vlogs and all this other stuff. And it's just trying to keep my, I mean, I could just easily sit on the couch and smoke joints all day and watch TV and be just as, alive, but I just don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything. So that's why I'm trying to get some stuff done. I even auditioned
I'm
for,
a hybrid. I do both.
yeah, exactly. I even auditioned for Food Network. I had like I had 4 or 5 callbacks, and eventually at the end they said they weren't in. They passed on me, but you know what I mean? I would have never tried doing that if I was still working. So,
You'd have been too busy.
When I lost my job, the first thing I thought was, well, instead of being depressed about it, why don't I look at it as an opportunity for, me to do something on my own? I'm 45 years old. I've been laid off from like the last 7 jobs I've had. I'm just fucking over it. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I mean, if you find something you love and you can make it a job on its own, you never laid off again. You know what I mean?
So if we can get back to doing the wrestling again, and that can be something I can do a third of the time, and I can do toys a third of the time, and I can do junk food stuff a third of the time, then you know what? As long as the bills are paid, I don't really care. That's what I want to do with the rest of my life.
Hey, I understand. I understand that, as long as the bills are paid and, you got food in your stomach, and snacks in the cupboards,
Right, exactly.
then I mean, good to go.
That's all that really matters at this point. Like the older you get, the less you realize all that shit don't mean nothing. I live in a very modest 1.5 bedroom house. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And like when when you were younger, you look at these houses on Riverside Drive and you go, fuck, I'd love to live inside that. And then when you get your own house, you're like, I'm glad I don't have to clean that fucking house. Like, honestly, I hate cleaning this fucking house, and it's so small. Do you know what I mean? So
now let's cross over a couple of interests / hobbies, because like you also enjoy cooking, correct?
Right, exactly. I love it.
Now
that's where that whole Food Network thing came from. I thought I could do the best of both worlds. You know what I mean? I could talk food and cook at the same time.
So with your love for cooking, one thing that kind of that's made me laugh watching online, having you guys both on Facebook, is you and Josh Alexander going back and forth, because he seems to love any of the food that you're posting. And like, obviously he's made an amazing body transformation over the years, but he says when, next time he sees you that it's cheat day. It doesn't matter what day it is, it's cheat day. So like, if you had to, if like, oh, you're on the spot, you got to call it now. What's Josh Alexander's cheat day meal? What are you throwing his way?
Well, do you know what this guy eats on a regular day? This guy eats fucking chicken boiled in broth and hot sauce, and that's it. Okay? So I think, but like the thing is, like, I can't really make fun of him because I eat like total shit. So I could probably
Guilty. Cuff me.
Right. I could probably stand to, learn from him instead of vice versa. Do you remember John? You remember John Bolin?
Yeah.
And do you remember Matt Duvall, the professional bodybuilder that became a wrestler and he passed away a couple years ago?
I do.
So when they were training in Windsor, Scott made a joke about how they should send me and James, Jimmy Trump, to live with Bolin and Duvall for 3 months. We would be jacked, you know what I mean, eating well. And I said, don't underestimate the power of persuasion. I said, your two key students are going to come out weighing 350 fucking pounds out of that relationship. But Josh Alexander, I know, grew up as like a fat kid like we all did, but he's just one of these guys who he's disciplined enough to like,
He's shredded. He wants it more than anybody.
Right.
He's one guy, like he's the guy I'll put over more than anybody right now.
So his wife, Jade.
Yep.
So I went on her podcast. It's called See You Next Tuesday. You should check that out. It's a great podcast. She's always got fun guests on there. She even has like a 2.5.
Check it out today, because I air on Tuesdays. So head on over there after you hear this.
Yeah, she did an episode with Demore a couple weeks ago, which is actually very candid, and like it doesn't have that many viewers, and it's like, wow, I can't believe she got an interview this candid with Demore, and there's only 100 or so people watched it, so maybe this
But if she's
getting the
doing it
news
in
out there.
multiple spots, sometimes it adds up too. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I'll get like 25 here only. Like honestly, 25 here. Honestly, the max was I think with the episode I did with Airstrike, which I like two younger guys. I don't know if it's their promo game, but like they just more than tripled any other episode. But then you'll see one week Apple, you're hot on Apple, you're hot on Spotify, and it all kind of fluctuates. So it's hard to get from one spot, but I would hope people don't sleep on that. Like I haven't heard it yet, but you telling me
it's really
like,
good.
I'm gonna go listen to it.
Yeah, I think she had Josh on there twice already. She had me on there. She had Scott. And then she also has like other people from like her Ring of Honor days and stuff like that on there. It's pretty cool. But we were talking on her podcast, and I said that, I want to do a cheat day with Josh, and I'd love to film it. And I said,
that'd be great.
What we should do is on his cheat day, especially if we can't get together in person, I'll tell Jade in advance, and we were going to do ice cream. I was going to give him like some kind of cool ice cream, and she was going to go buy it, and I was going to have it, and then we're going to co-eat it together on a split screen and see if I can get Josh to eat this whatever filthy Ben and Jerry's disgusting ice cream I can like muster up to get him to try to eat. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
I'm trying to think of like the dirtiest, ice cream I can find that is just like gooey and chunks of candy and all that shit in there. I want it to be the exact opposite of boiled chicken with hot sauce and chicken broth.
Yeah, just the absolute most dirty shit you could come up with.
Right. So that was probably what I'm going to do. But I mean, once we get on the road, like once we're back on the road, another idea I thought about doing was like, call it the last day of the road. Like, so we do the show, and then usually the next day is when everybody, flies home over the course of the day. Some people leave at 4 a.m, 7, 10, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 times out of 10, my flight's always like 5, 6, 7 in the at night, because you know what I mean. I'd rather get a good night's sleep and just travel home and whatever, and spend a day, sightseeing, eating, fucking around, going toy shopping, whatever I can do.
Yeah, not being in a rush.
Right. So a lot of times, like when we go to Vegas, me, Scott, and D'Lo will go to Korean barbecue and eat for like 2 hours of all you can eat Korean barbecue. There's no rush.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I mean? So what I want to do is I'm thinking about doing a thing called like the last day of the road, where find someone that's got like a later flight, like a Josh Alexander, and let's go get in the car and film us doing like a cheat day meal together. Like if we're in Texas, go have fucking enchiladas somewhere. If we're in Chicago, eat a Chicago dog. If we're in Philly, we'll eat a fucking Philly cheesesteak or whatever.
If you can't, and if you start having problems getting people because of the difference in times of flights, the last day, just start doing it the night after the show. Start doing midnight meets.
Or whatever, right? Whatever we got to do, like just whatever. Just have just if I'm out somewhere and there's the boys are there, let's film this and have some fucking fun with it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's even something with me, like going forward, like when things return to normal here, when I start going to shows, I'm like, it only takes me 5 minutes to throw my equipment in my trunk. Right. And if I want to break down and do a podcast in the parking lot, I can.
Right. Even like the rinky dink, I got this little Amazon. My little Amazon setup is only this big. You can put that in your suitcase, no problem. Do you know what I mean?
That's amazing.
So that's something I'm looking forward to. And basically just that, and trying to do some toy shows. The whole problem is the government can't get a handle on how many, I can't get a handle on how many people I can have in a building. It's very like gray area the way that they
because are you because it's not a gathering. It's not like indoor gatherings where it's
not an indoor gathering, but it's not retail, but it's not a venue, but it's an
event. I would say it's an event,
right? But then the thing always says sporting event. It doesn't say event, it says sporting event.
I feel like whatever like a Comic-Con or something would have to follow, you would follow,
right? But nobody, I talked to the promoter from Hamilton, I talked to the promoter from Kitchener. Nobody's reading the rules exactly the same way. So it's a real pain in the ass.
That sucks.
Yeah. But you know what though? Like as soon as like I live here in Tecumseh, the second that Legion opens up,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be in there. I'll be doing a wrestling show and a toy show out of there as soon as I can.
Yeah, that that Legion's hosted all kinds of wrestling.
You know what's funny? My old neighbor from across the street, he's since passed away. When I moved to this house, I was standing in front of the house looking at my house, thinking to myself, holy fuck, I can't believe I just bought this house. And I hear someone behind me go, is that Jeffrey Scott? So I turn around, it's this old guy. He's like, I've been going to your shows since 1993 in LaSalle Arena.
Wow.
So he's been to every show. And then he was telling me, he's like, I used to go to shows at the Legion in 1964 when the guy would wrestle a bear. And I'm like, holy fuck, this guy's been to a lot of wrestling shows. You know what I mean? And it was funny because my great uncle, so like my grandpa's sister married a wrestler,
Okay.
Joe Brunetti, and he was a star of St. Louis wrestling back in like the 60s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I never knew that he wrestled in this area ever. And I was going through his results on Cage Match.
Yeah.
And he did a fucking show at the Legion.
So like just right in town, and you had no idea.
Yeah, well, it was before I was born, but I didn't know that he had ever wrestled. Not only did I not know he wrestled in the area, I didn't know he wrestled at the fucking Legion that's behind my house. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's pretty neat. But the only thing that's so because he wasn't my direct family, his like direct family took all his all his memorabilia, and I didn't get anything out of it. I got a picture with him, and that's about it.
That would have been the most like that. You know what? For wrestling, that could have been your gimmick, and I would have loved it. I'm a third generation, twice removed wrestler.
Exactly. Could you imagine? By marriage. I'm a third generation by marriage wrestler.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But even Mickey Doyle, who trained us, he remembered my uncle, and he would always call me Brunetti all the time at the wrestling school when we were training when we were young. When I was young, Mickey would call me Brunetti all the time.
So he obviously knew, like you knew the connection early. You just didn't.
Yeah, I told him that when I just didn't know he wrestled in Tecumseh. Yeah.
Now, one thing I actually wrote this one down. It's something I wanted to ask you, because I mean, everybody says the key to a man's heart is his stomach, but I mean, that's not just advice for women. That's advice for anybody. Like a good meal can get a lot done. Can you give me a story of a time where you have used your outside of wrestling passions and abilities to gain favor in professional wrestling?
Okay, so do you remember, and this is going to be, I'm not sure when this episode airs, but the Johnny Canine Bruiser Bedlam Dark Side of the Ring that's coming up?
I was hoping this is what you would tell on the show, because you have told me about this, but I wasn't sure if it would be the one you told. So yes, go.
So I'm like 18 years old, like still got piss in my underwear as far as wrestling goes, right? Like I've not even had a match yet, never refereed, nothing. And I'm kind of just trying to make my way, trying to pay my dues, build rings, do airport runs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Canine asked me to drive him to the airport, or drive him to a show in the States. And, I was being a young boy. I said, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Bring him over. No trouble whatsoever. Coming back, he's like, hey, what's that place right there? I said, that's the duty free. He says, oh, shit, what do they got in there? I said, oh, they got pop and, alcohol and candy bars and stuff like that. Oh, fuck, let's go in there. So we go in, and he grabs about 10, 12 bottles of booze, because you know how cheap the shit is at the duty free.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Bullshit. So he grabs it all, and the lady at the cashier says, well, you know that it's only one bottle per person in the car that's over the age of 18. And he's going, oh, yeah. And I'm driving like my mom's, Chevy Lumina. And this guy wants to like illegally import like 18 bottles of alcohol. And I'm too snot-nosed to say anything at the time. Do you know what I mean? So I don't say nothing.
I wouldn't even say snot nose, because I mean, considering you're too smart to say no.
Yeah, maybe that's the word. Yeah, maybe I was too smart. So my mom. So after that, I was like, I'm never putting my mom and dad's car in that sort of jeopardy again for wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was working at. You remember Ion Video?
Yep.
I was working at Ion Video, and Scott called me at the video store because there was no cell phones back then, and said, "Hey, can you call K9? He wants a ride to the show tomorrow." And I knew I wasn't driving that fucking guy ever again because of what happened last time. So I called him back and I didn't get him. I just got his voicemail. So I left him a voicemail basically saying, yeah, listen, I can't give you a ride tomorrow. You know, sorry about that. Good luck. Talk to you later. And that's it. So I head over to the show myself the next day, and I get there and everybody's going, well, where's Bruiser? And I said, I have no idea.
Fuck.
And they said, well, he told us he was riding over with you. I said, well, I told him that I couldn't drive with him. When did he tell you that? Oh, this morning. I said, well, I fucking told him yesterday I'm not driving him. I never even spoke to him, you know?
Yeah.
So I think Bill Scullion was there. And Scullion was like, bro, I left him at the Taco Bell or something on Huron Church. You got to go. Like, he's waiting for you. So I'm like, oh, fuck. So now I'm already at the show. I leave, cross back over the fucking border, go to the Taco Bell, and I'm looking around, and they're like, can we help you? I'm like, oh, I'm just looking for somebody. They're like, oh, the big, scary fucking bald guy? Oh, he left here about 20 minutes ago, all pissed off. I'm like, oh, fuck, lovely.
Yeah.
I don't know where he went. So I go back over the border to the show. And when I get there, he's there. And he's like, hey, you fucking piece of shit. You fucking left me there. And I said, I told you I couldn't drive you. He's like, fuck you. Shut the fuck up. Every time I was talking, he'd tell me to shut the fuck up. And I'm going to kick the fuck out of you. And I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, man. Like, I told you I couldn't drive you. Oh, fuck you. Don't, you're fucking dead. All the stuff.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, fuck. So I'm sitting there the whole time shitting myself thinking, okay, I'm dead, right? Because this guy's like going to kill somebody. Well, just watch the dark side of the ring and put yourself in my position. And I remember Mike Kelly showed up about 10 minutes later. And what had happened was Bruiser had no show to show for him like a week before and told him that he couldn't make the show because he was working for WWE. Well, Mike Kelly went on the internet that day and found out that WWE didn't even have a show that day and that Bruiser was lying. So he went on the microphone and told the fans that Bruiser no-showed and told all the fans that Bruiser lied to them and stuff.
Oh,
so,
fuck.
of course, that gets back to Bruiser. So now Bruiser wants to kill this fucking guy, right?
Yeah.
So he shows up 10 minutes after that. He's already told me that he's going to kick the fuck out of me. And he shows up. So now he's already mad at me. So now he's fucking 10 times pissed at Mike Kelly and literally chases him out of the building. And Mike Kelly's hiding underneath someone's fucking car, shitting himself.
Oh, no
and
doubt.
I'm in the building shitting myself, praying that Scott shows up any minute because I know that Scott would at least tell him not to kill me. Maybe just mutilate me, but don't murder me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as soon as the show was done, I just got the fuck out of there because I didn't even want to even like look or breathe in his general fucking direction.
Yeah, understandable.
So the next weekend, I knew we had a show in Taylor, Michigan for what was the promotion there? Midwest Territorial Wrestling, I think. And I knew that K9 was going to be there, and I knew that I had to be there. So getting back to your original question, I was working at Zayre's at the time, and I thought, okay, what's a good peace offering I could give this fucking guy? For a guy with no money and no nothing, I know how to cook, so maybe I'll cook him something, and I'll give it to him and whatever. So I got 2 nice strip loin steaks. I marinated them, grilled them up, toasted a bun with like garlic butter, sauteed mushrooms and onions, made these fucking 2 steak sandwiches that were like a good 2, wrapped them in tin foil, kept them nice and warm, wrapped in a tea towel in a cooler, brought them to the show. And I walk up to Bruiser with the fucking cooler in my hand. And I said, Johnny, I want to talk to you. And he's like, oh, look who's here, the fucking piece of shit and all this stuff. And I said, hey, I just want to apologize for the misunderstanding, which I knew it wasn't a misunderstanding. It was all
Well,
on
yeah,
him.
it's
But
like, fuck it. Take it.
I said, I just want to apologize for the misunderstanding, and I brought you a peace offering. And I open up the cooler and I hand him the thing, and he looks at it and he looks at me and he says, what the fuck is this? I said, I made you a nice steak sandwich, you know? And he says, oh yeah? He says, what the fuck did you do to it? And not being smart to like fucking with people's food.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I grilled it, I sauteed it, I toasted it. He goes, no, did you fuck with it? And it never even occurred to me to like fuck with this guy's food.
Yeah, to
like,
weaponize it.
Right. I'm like, no, I look at him, I said, I would never do that. Like, that didn't even cross my mind. And he goes, well, I don't know you and I don't trust you. So Scott comes walking in and I go, hey, Scott, come here. I go, what? I go, take a bite of that sandwich. And Scott goes, what is it? And I said, it's a strip loin steak sandwich I brought. So Scott takes the thing from fucking Bruiser, unwraps it, and just starts fucking going to town. And Bruiser's just watching him. And he says to Scott, you trust this kid? Scott goes, oh, fuck yeah, I do. He goes, oh, fuck. So I reach in the cooler and grab the other fucking steak sandwich. I said, do you want it? And he took it from me and he starts fucking eating it. And he's like, good job, kid. Fuck. Oh yeah. You know, you're not a bad guy. You know, I think I maybe had you wrong. And then I'm like, oh, that's awesome. You know what I mean? And then he fucking starts eating the sandwich. And then he looks at me and goes, no mushrooms next time. Okay. I said, hey, sure. No problem. Whatever you want.
Sandwich guy now. He's like, no, you're my sandwich guy.
Yeah. Now he wants custom sandwiches. But yeah. And after that, we were always cool. We even flew to Cleveland together in a 4-seater plane, which was hilarious because the second we land, Bruiser is like, oh, fuck, I got to get out of this tin can. Fuck, get me the fuck out of here. And he gets out and he just takes his dick out and starts pissing on the runway. Like there's commercial airlines landing right there. And he's just hanging it out, pissing the entire time. And he's saying, so we have to check in at the, the small the airport has like for like personal plane,
Yeah.
Like for personal plane. And he's going to the lady there. Oh yeah. So like, fucking, this is only for personal planes. And the lady goes, yeah. So you get lots of fucking famous people through here? And the girl goes, yeah, quite a lot. Oh yeah. Who's the most fucking famous person you ever seen come through here? Lady goes, Hulk Hogan came through here last week. He goes, Hulk Hogan, fuck that faggot jabroni piece of shit. Blah, blah, blah. To this poor lady. And this lady is just like, okay. You know what I mean? She was so flabbergasted.
Fucking not know. You just don't like, what do you say? Like when someone goes off like that.
Right. And it's just some stranger off the street. Best part is we're in the plane and this 4-seater. And he's like sitting in there and he's like, hey, this is pretty fucking cool, And the second the plane goes like that, like a little bit of turbulence, oh fuck, you say to the pilot, I'll fucking kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you if this fucking thing goes down. Just making it so stressful.
If this thing goes down.
Yeah, he's gonna kill you if this thing goes down. You fucking kill me, I'll fucking kill you.
Gonna kill you before it hits the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, he's insane. I love it. I miss him in a very strange way.
Yeah, hey, I mean, a lot of people, even in the wrestling business, every once in a while, like, Johnny Canine was around, the shit wouldn't fly.
That is a shoot. I like as good as he was with Bill Scullion. He punched Bill Scullion in the face one time so fucking hard.
I know about this.
And his gum fell out, and it was like hanging like right here.
Yeah.
And he punched him again, and Bill started to fall, and Bruiser punched him 3 more times to stand him straight back up again. And I thought to myself, that's the most terrifying thing I've ever witnessed with my own 2 fucking eyes.
Yeah.
And he likes that guy.
Yeah.
But it was because
Bill, like I've worked with Bill a couple of times, and like he's told me about that, like when he was living in Windsor for a short bit, like, and yeah, that's really
so what
fucked
so
up.
like what, and he was protecting the business. Like there was a show, and Bill showed up with a crew of bunch of guys and told the promoter, hey, don't pay these guys $50 each, my guys will all work for 25 each.
Yeah.
So they told Tornado and Tyson and all these guys that they couldn't be on the show.
Huh.
So, they're just kind of sitting in the corner, and K9 says to Tyson, what the fuck's going on? And he's like, oh, they canceled us off the show. I guess Scullion showed up with guys who will work for cheaper.
Fuck.
So Bruiser just walked over and started punching the fuck out of Scullion. So I'm like, holy fuck. I'm flashing back to when we were in the States. I'm thinking, how come he didn't do that to me? He just went up and walked up and punched him in the face right now. He didn't punch me in the face right away. He told me he was gonna.
You probably kept the right distance, said the right things to get out then, and then you came back bearing steak.
Exactly. But yeah, he was as like I said, as nuts as he was, but like you said, he would have really, none of the shit that goes on in Ontario would happen with Bruiser around for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, I do want to thank you, Jeff, for coming on the show. It's been awesome to have you.
It's been super fun. Like I haven't it's nice to talk about nothing, about just bullshit about stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. I don't have much of a format. I have a couple things I know that I want to ask just because it's like out of curiosity. And aside from that, I just like the bullshit, man.
No, I love it. It was fun. And it was like, it didn't feel like it was a half hour at all. Probably felt like it was 5 minutes actually.
Well, there you go. Well, do me a favor for those that have endured the show with us. Hit them again with your plugs, where to find Junk Food Jeff and all your other endeavors.
Yeah, so if you have stuck around this long and you haven't been sick of either of our voices, don't forget to check me out on YouTube at Junk Food Jeff. Also, Junk Food Jeff on Facebook. That's my main page. That's where you'll find out all the new stuff that's coming out in the Windsor and Detroit area. New pop, new chips, new cereal, new Pop-Tarts. If you're a wrestling fan and you're in the Windsor area, don't forget Border City Wrestling. The greatest, the latest, the longest running. Well, we can run again. We're going to be back to doing shows again real soon. Impact Wrestling every Thursday on Fight Network. Hopefully we'll be back with that real soon. They have Slammiversary pay-per-view coming up this Saturday. It's cool to see
Josh Alexander, Ultimate X.
That's right. It's going to be super awesome. And what else? Did I plug everything else?
Yeah, I think you got it.
And if you're and if you collect Funko Pops and you live in the Windsor area, check out my Facebook page, Windsor Funko Pop Friends. Other than that, thanks so much, PD, for having me on this and doing this with me. It was fun.
Thank you. And as always, guys, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at PD Skillz Show. Until next time, remember, Unruly's run the crowd over WWC. You heard it here first. And that's all we got for next week. I'm PD Skillz. This is Jeffrey Scott.